Hello everyone, in this tutorial we will create the destructible vehicle the same as the Matrix demo from the city sample project, and we use the control rig to deform the skeletal mesh of the vehicle. And in this project we don't use any C++ source, only blueprint in the new project. To start, you have to go to Unreal Engine Marketplace and search for city sample and download this free project city sample and then create it in the new project. And another one is city sample vehicle. Go to Epic Game Launcher and launch Unreal Engine. Create a new project. Choose game and third person. The project name is city sample vehicle. Go to Epic Game Launcher and scroll down. Add the city sample vehicle to the project that we just created. City sample vehicle and add to project. Now we can see that we have the city sample vehicle project inside, and go to the map. Enable missing plugin. These are our vehicle, and in this project we don't have the destruction, and we have to create the destructible vehicle. Now go to File, New Project, and choose Game, third person character, and the project name is Destructible Vehicle. This is the project that we're going to create the destructible vehicle. It is blueprint project and create. First, we have to go to plugin and then search for chaos vehicle plugin and enable it. Search for enhance input if you are using Unreal Engine under 5.1 and restart. Go to project setting and go to input, default player input class, select enhance player input, and default input component class, select enhance input component. Click on all settings, search for virtual texture and enable this virtual texture support. Then restart the project again. Now create a new folder, and the folder name is vehicle. Open it, new folder, map. Create a new level. The name is vehicle map. Open this new map, select it. Then open this city sample vehicle project, and we find the lighting from this. Select light source by pressing Control and select Sky Sphere, Skylight, and Sphere Reflection Capture. Copy it, Control C, and paste it inside this new map. Now we have the lighting, and select all this floor. Copy and paste it. And then save all. To stop this red warning, we have to build the lighting. Build lighting only. And go to project setting, go to map and mode, editor startup map, like the vehicle map, and this game default, like vehicle map. We choose this map because when we open the project, Unreal Engine will open this map as the default. And then go to City Sample Vehicle, and the input, select it, right click, and then migrate all this input. Find our Destructible vehicle project and go to content and select folder. And you can see this is the input. You can create it from scratch if you want, but I choose migrate, it's faster. You just go to input action, and another one is input mapping context. And this one for look to rotate around the vehicle. And this one is for vehicle to move the vehicle forward and steering it left or right. And you can open this mapping. When we click play, we spawn this third person character, but we don't need this. So go to third person blueprint, and this is the game mode that used for the third person character. Right click, create a new blueprint, and create a new game mode. Name it BP MT game mode. Open this game mode. And this default pound, clear it. And go to World Setting, Game Mode Override, like the BP empty game mode. Now when we click play, we don't found any third person character. And when you want to move around, press F8, right click, and you can press WASD to move around. After you download the City Sample project, you can find the location of it and then open that project. It may take a long time because it is a huge project, so you have to patient a little bit. This is the recommended spec for your PC for this City Sample project. And we have to migrate some of the assets from this. Go to vehicle and go to vehicle 03. Click on the animation, mesh, physics, skeleton, and then right click, migrate. Disable this control. We don't need this. Crowd, effect, material, texture, and the vehicle we don't need this effect, material, texture, vehicle car hero, and vehicle tube, and we don't need this material. And don't need this texture. Vehicle has file, Niagara, P3 importer, and graphic. And this is what we need. Click OK. And select the destructible vehicle, project, location, content. Select folder. And you can see this is vehicle 3 and these are the mesh. Then in the vehicle, click on blueprint and select this 3 folder and this track, and right click, migrate. Click OK and to the content of the destructible vehicle. You can see these 3 folder, but some of the struct not yet migrate yet. So select all these struct and then right click, migrate. OK and select folder. Then this animation, right click, migrate. We don't migrate this control, crowd, effect, material, texture, effect, material, texture, vehicle, arrow, vehicle 2, vehicle 3, vehicle 5, fan, Niagara, P3, graphic. We only need this animation and physics. Click OK and select folder. And some of the folder is the same, so we have to click yes all. And we have this control rig. One more thing that we need is go to vehicle and vehicle car, vehicle 3. Click on this and this DA deformable vehicle car, vehicle 3 data asset. Right click, asset action, and then migrate. and disable this, disable everything, and open this vehicle, enable, disable blueprint, effect, material, texture, vehicle 2, vehicle 7, vehicle 13, and this texture. We only migrate this DA deformable vehicle car, vehicle 3. Click OK and select the location, like folder. And now we have everything that we need, so we can close this city sample 99 project. From the city sample project, we get this control rig, this track, and the physics of the car, the skeleton, the animation blueprint, the mesh of the vehicle, and this is the physics and the skeleton of the vehicle, and also this data set. Go to blueprint and we create a blueprint class, all classes, and search for wheel. You have to enable the chaos vehicle to get this wheel vehicle pound, and select. The name is BP vehicle base. We create the base from blueprint. And then add spring arm and add camera to the spring arm. Like on spring arm, the arm length is 495 and the location C is 440. We disable this inherit role and enable camera leg, rotation leg, and this is 15 leg speed and 3, and make distance is 100. Now go to event graph. We will create the enhanced input called event process, and another one is event and process. When we process the vehicle, has to player controller get enhance input local player subsystem, then call add mapping context, add variable. The variable name is input mapping, and set the variable type. Search for input mapping context object reference. Duplicate this variable by pressing Ctrl D. The name is input look mapping, and compile. The input mapping like I am VH input mapping, and this look is I am LC input mapping. Then get input mapping and connect it to mapping context. Call another one, add mapping context, and get look mapping next to mapping context. This one for control the vehicle and this one for looking around the vehicle. And then when we unprocess has to player controller, call enhance input local subsystem, and then remove mapping context. We remove this input mapping, and another one, remove mapping context, remove this input look mapping. This event we call when we get out of the vehicle, so we stop controlling that vehicle anymore. Call IA SC look data, and this action value break vector and make vector. Connect X to Z and this Y multiply with -1 and connect it to Y. This make vector, we don't make the vector, we call make rotator, and Y to Y and Z to Z. Delete this. Get spring arm, add local rotation, and call it when we trigger connect to delta rotation, and then set relative rotation, and get the spring arm, get relative rotation, split track pin. For the pitch, we clamp the angle, min is -50, min is -50, and the max is 5. So we can look from the bottom of the vehicle or from right top of the vehicle. And make rotator like this to pitch and the yaw to the yaw. This yaw we don't clamp the angle so we can look around 360 degree. Create IA VH throttle. Get vehicle component, movement component, and set throttle input. Trigger and complete action value to throttle. IA VH brake, and vehicle movement component, set brake input. In this vehicle movement component, we have everything that we need for the movement of the vehicle. like the throttle, the brake, IA, VH, handbrake. Get vehicle movement component, set handbrake input, trigger, start, ongoing, and complete. Connect this action value. IA, VH, steering. Then get vehicle movement component, set steering input, trigger, start, ongoing, and complete. And this action value to steering. We have the input for our vehicle. Right click on BP vehicle base and create child blueprint class. We name it BP vehicle base deform maple and open this. We get everything that inherit from this vehicle base. There are spring arm and camera. Let's go to city sample project, and you have to scroll down to the vehicle and vehicle 3. Open this BP vehicle 3 sandbox and go to viewport. Select this skeletal mesh to this brake pad and select the frame destructible SM door and SM frame to this SM wheel rear L. We only don't select the audio, entry, exit, and audio. Copy, Ctrl C, back to our project and click on the mesh, Ctrl V. And we get this vehicle. We don't have the material for the texture yet. To add the door, go to SM door front all and go to the mesh. This door, we drag it to the static mesh. Click on the mesh and the skeleton mesh. We use this SKM vehicle 3. This skeleton don't have any mesh on it. You can go to character and search for bone and all hierarchy. You can see this skeleton. When this skeleton deform, they will control the control rig. And the anim class, find the animation and use this ABP vehicle 3 animation blueprint. Then scroll down and don't forget to enable the simulate physics. SKM proxy. The skeleton mesh is this proxy we call car. Exterior, use this SKM exterior. SKM frame destruction, use this frame destruction. So go to vehicle movement component And we have to set up this movement component. The wheel setup, let's add 4 times because we have 4 wheels, 2 front and 2 back. And select this front for the wheel class. And this is rear. You can see inside this blueprint class, we have the physics that define this wheel. There are radius of the wheel, the Y, the stiffness. You can modify this for different type of vehicle. And let's open the SKM vehicle car. And this is the bone for the wheel front turn L. Copy this name and paste it inside this bone name for the first wheel. Another one is wheel front turn right. Copy and paste. And wheel rear L for the back wheel. And another one is wheel rear O for the back wheel right side. And wheel trace collision, the vehicle, we block the vehicle. And engine setup, the curve, like horse curve, vehicle 3. Max toss is 500. 5,400. And this idle RPM is 1,600. Engine brake effect is 0.1. And this is 5 and 600. Then we set up this transmission, automatic reverse, set it to false. And this array, we delete this. This one set to 2.82, 1.5, 1, 0.7. And delete this. Set it to 2.31, 2.32. And this gear chain 0.2 and transmission 1. Scroll down. Steering setup. The steering type like X command and angle ratio is 0.8. And you can go to the sample project, click on vehicle movement and find the steering curve. Right click, copy this curve and paste inside this steering curve. Or you can move this point and set the mass to 1,850 and enable the center of mass. H is 26 and Z is 56. I have to be precise because I want the same behavior as the original project. Cost control, we set this rotation damping to 0. Compile, go to vehicle map, and this blueprint, drag it to the scene, click on it, and go to open level blueprint. Right click, create a reference to BP vehicle based deformable. Make sure that you click on this vehicle before you can create the reference of it. And get player controller called possess, and possess this deformable vehicle. Need to begin play. Let's play test. Now when we play, we possess this vehicle and we can rotate around this vehicle. When we press W, we move forward and can turn left and turn right. But the wheel not yet rotate with the vehicle. We have to set up this. Go to this city sample project and you can find the vehicle and blueprint. Open this BP vehicle based deformable. Go to viewport and search for nanite. Attach nanite to skeletal mesh. Copy this function and paste it inside this. And we delete this add local offset. Delete the variable wheel. Add local offset. Delete this. The wheel motion blur, we don't need it. Then compile. Because when we move the skeletal mesh, we rotate. So we have to attach the static mesh of our wheel to the skeletal mesh, to the bone of the skeletal mesh. So we can see the wheel rotate with the skeletal mesh. And go to construction script. And we call this attach nanite to skeletal mesh. We call it inside the construction script because this script will run before we play the game. Let's play test. And now when we move, the wheel will rotate, but it looks with the rotation. Go to the animation, ABP we call car, we call 3, and use this wheel instead of the stage effect wheel controller. If you use this, you have to have the motion blur to make the wheel look right for the vehicle. Let's play again. Now we can see the wheel rotate and we can turn and the wheel turn. We can drive the vehicle now. Stop. In the city sample project for this vehicle 3 sandbox, you can see the parent class. This parent class is vehicle based sandbox. And then after that, we have the parent of it is vehicle based destruction. This one is focused on the destruction of the glass of the vehicle and the material. The parent of it is vehicle-based deformable. In this tutorial, we will focus on this deformable. And after that, they have the parent is vehicle-based drivable. Another parent is vehicle-based. And then the parent of it is city sample vehicle-based. That is the C++ source file. So we only focus on this deformable that we can control the control rig to deform this vehicle when it collides with the wall or other vehicle. You can go to the construction script and see there are a lot of functions here, but some of it is not related to the deformation of the vehicle. I will point out which function that are related. This one, set skeletal mesh, set master post, attach nanite to this skeletal mesh. This one we already copied this function. So deformable skeletal mesh. This is not useful. Storage skeletal mesh value on hit event. And another one is store plastic constraint. For the event graph, we don't need this begin play and the begin tick. We need all these deformation events. The control rig. This one is very useful. The control rig pre-initialize. It connect with the control rig with the skeletal mesh. And we need this hit mesh. We call mesh on hit. And other thing is not useful for our project. We can create all these functions from scratch, but I choose to copy the functions so it's easy for us not to confuse. To create the destructible vehicle, we have to go to the city sample project. First, copy this set skeletal mesh. Paste it. And then create a sequence. And set this skeletal mesh. Promote this SKM proxy mesh to Drivable. Compile. Then use this SKM proxy vehicle 3 for the SKM proxy mesh. Search for set master. Copy. And paste it. Go to construction script and call set master. Then attach nanite to skeletal mesh. Search for enable control rig. Copy. And set this category to deformable. Compile. Go to construction script. Then search for on body hit lookup constraint function. Copy it and paste this function. Set it to deformable and promote this deformable variable data set. And promote this constraint body map. This deformable vehicle data set. Set it to deformable. And this constraint body map. Set it to deformable. Then copy this storage skeletal mesh value for on hit event. Go to construction script and paste it. Rename it by delete the tool and promote this spawn actor to Drivable, deformable, body raise transform, body previous distance multiplier, body previous rotation multiplier, and set this to deformable, and this one to deformable, and this deformable. Compile and connect it to the store raise skeleton mesh value for on hit event. After that, we copy this store plastic constraint and paste it. Rename, delete this number 2. Add pin, connect to store plastic constraint. Open, promote this plastic constraint and set it to deformable. Fill plastic constraint, create variable and deformable. Compile. Close all these functions. We only need this 5 function for our construction script. Go to event graph and we have to initialize the control rig by mapping the skeleton mesh to the control rig. So go to event graph, search for show deformable skeleton mesh and copy this function, paste it, confirm, and delete this reset motion blur for all component this frame because we don't use the motion blur for the wheel. And then promote this skeleton mesh is display and set it to deformable. this function, set it to deformable category. And let's copy this control rig and go to event graph, paste it, and promote this wait to pre-init control rig. This control rig pre-initialize, rename it, and we open. And we can see that we use the deformable vehicle data set, then get the rig element mapping and add it to the map element of the control rig. Promote this control rig map element and set it to deformable. Compile and click on the all frame Destructible and choose the control rig. Go to animation of the vehicle and use this CO frame Destructible control rig. For the deformable vehicle data set, we have to choose the DA deformable vehicle 3 data set. And back to event. Then we have to create this deformation events. Search for socket data from REST. Copy. Paste this function and set it to deformable. Compile. Search for on spawn static mesh car path. Copy. Paste. The category name is deformable effects. And compile. Search for on physics enable door. Copy and paste. And then this physics enable hood. Copy, paste. Physics enable trunk. Copy and paste. And then search for on plastic deformation. Copy and paste this and confirm. Delete this on vehicle disable because we done disable this vehicle. And promote can drive vehicle to Drivable. Set the category to deformable fact. Sorry, the category name is interaction. Close all of these functions. Then search for enable bumper bound check. Copy, paste it. Then set it to deformable category. This bumper remote to variable, and this bumper rear to variable. Track bumper front to variable, and track bumper rear to variable. Set this to deformable. Compile and go to event graph. City sample project event graph. We copy this event. Except this trigger danger. Copy and paste it here. Let's compile and promote this can interact with driver door and passenger door to variable. Category name is interaction, and this one interaction too. And compile can interact with driver door, set it to true, and this passenger door, set it to true. Search for found static mesh at bone. Copy this function, paste. Then we set the category to deformable. Promote this bound. Set it to deformable variable. Let's compile. And then search for enable physics body below. Copy, paste, deformable, and compile. Search for enable physics for bone. Copy and paste. Promote this physics joint enable to variable and set it to deformable, and this control rig physics joint mode, set it to deformable and compile. This control rig physics joint we have to find it in this variable, and we have this name of the array. So copy it and paste it inside this array of the control rig physics joint. Compile. Then the macros, copy this enable change and paste this macro. How? Then search for when physics constraint rest reset. Copy, paste it, set category to deformable. And we promote this and swap back to none. Let's compile, set it to true. We have one error, is get broken glass bone. Promote it to Drivable. And then set it to deformable. Compile. Search for deform vehicle and reset constraint. Copy this and then paste it. Set it to deformable and compile. Then copy on plastic deformation mesh event. Go to event graph and paste it here. Then promote enable destruction mode to Drivable and set it to Destructible. Compile, set it to true. Compile again. Then we group this. Click C. Name is Deformation Event. And we change the color to blue. And then copy this everything in this event and copy row C and paste it down here. Let's compile. This on hit component is from this mesh. You can scroll down and see this event. Also on plastic deformation is also from this mesh tool. Let's close all the function. Save, select it. And we can go to the mesh. SKM proxy. Go to asset detail. Inside this asset detail, you can see this post-process ending blueprint. And we use the ABP proxy post vehicle car. Search for this. This is the animation blueprint. Open. And we have to connect the input post to the base post. Go to the scene and add shape cube. Set the scale of X, Y, and Z a bit high. Level prototyping material. Use this prototype grid. Let's play test. Now let's hit this wall and we get the deformation. But the line of the vehicle is not break the glass of it. So we have to disable this. Go to the vehicle based deformation, like on this glass. Search for visible that it to fall. And when we play test, hit this, we see the deformation. Inside the vehicle, we don't have some of the static mesh. Let's find the static mesh that we not yet add inside it. SM frame interior. Go to vehicle 3 mesh, and this interior. SM engine, this engine. SM wheel. Now everything is set up. Let's play test again. We can see the deformation and the back. It's working. If you press F8 and can show the bone. And this is the bone of the skeletal mesh. When it hit, the physics asset move this bone, and this bone map with the control rig, and this control rig will deform the skeletal mesh. And you can search for bone and disable this, and search for collision, enable this collision, can see all the collision, and this is the collision. When it's hit, it move backward, and when it's not hit, it stay at the front. And this mesh is detached from the skeletal mesh. You can see there is a physics asset collision. This is the collision of it. And you can show the constraint. We have all this collision. that use as the sensor to the world to detect the impact of the vehicle. We can duplicate this, Control D, move it forward, play test, and when we collide with other vehicle, the other vehicle will deform. Here you can see. And now we have to add the vehicle material. To add the vehicle material, we have to find our city sample vehicle, open it, then go to vehicle 3 and click on material and texture. Right click, migrate, disable this city sample vehicle, disable this asset guideline. We migrate the material and texture, disable this vehicle tool, disable the effect and speed 3, then click OK. Export it to the Destructible vehicle project and select folder. Let's close this. And we can see there is the material inside the city sample vehicle. And open this MI folder. These are the material. And to know which material we can apply, go to the city sample project and go to mesh. Open this SKM collision and asset detail. We use V car paint. Let's close all this. Open the mesh. Open this collision. Search for paint. Use this MV car paint and save. Open this SKM Destructible. And for the city sample project, we open this Destructible and use the same name as this material. Let's move it side by side. Vehicle 03 and copy this name because we will use it often and have 8 number. S15. Six. 12. 1. 15. 5. 0, 15, 13, 3, 17, 12. Scroll down this. 16, 18, 7, 19, 20, and 21. And we save all. Open the next SKM exterior. This one. And set the material file 14, 7, 6, windshield 18, 16, and 13. And save all. I save it because sometimes it can crash your engine when you don't save a lot of stuff. So to be prepared, we have to save it. Then skm proxy. And set the name the same as before, 15, 12, 20, 20, 7, 13, 14, 16, 21, 19, 18, 3, 4, 1, 5, 2, 6, windshield 8, and 0. Save all. And the next one, we don't have the material because we don't have the mesh for this skeleton mesh. And close all of this and open this break. This one can close and open this break. The material, let's move it here. The matrix is 17. And another break. 17. Open this door. Sixteen. 7. 13. 21. 18. 19. 20. And 12. Let's save all. And the right door. 19. 18. 13. 7. 16. 12. And 17. Then 21. Engine. 20. And 17. Save. Save all. Interior vehicle. 20. 20. 19. 16. Then frame. 15. 20. 13. 12. 14. 16. 18. 7. 19. 20. And 21. Steering. 19. And this we call car 3. Let's save all first. There are a lot of material slots, so you have to be careful with the order of the number. 10. 11. 20. 12. 7. And 13. 15. Force mass. 16. 14. 18. 19. 20, 21. Save all. Open static mesh, no wheel. Close all this static mesh. Now we continue. 20, 13, 12, 15, 14, 16, 18, 7, 19, 20, and 21. Save all. Next is wheel L. 10, 11. Wheel O. 'The same is 10, 11. Wheel L. 10, 11. Wheel O. 10, and 11. And this one is for grid material. Now we set all the material. Let's save all. And we can view our vehicle have the correct material. Can play test again with this material of the vehicle and hit this vehicle. We can see the deformation of the vehicle. For this tutorial, I spent a lot of time for learning about the topic and took a lot of trial and error. So if you like these tutorials, please hit like and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you very much for watching. See you in the next tutorial.